Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel, starting up with 144,000, which should be the ruling governing body in the kingdom of heaven, right? Which should be all men, 144,000. Also, to a lot of the 1/3 here in America, which would be believers, men, women, and children that will be saved. 2/3 of all people here in America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed. You have the rebels that are scattered abroad in different countries that will be destroyed. You have the elect that scattered abroad that will be saved, of who the world willingly and ignorantly calls black, Hispanic, Native American, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican, Haitian, Manasseh Cubans, Cubans. We are the Israelites, contrary to what people want to believe. I'm your brother Yeromia, coming back at y'all with another lesson. From Meantime Headlines, as y'all can see, it says razor blade found shoved into loaves of bread at Walmart, Mississippi. Now, the first thing I thought of is I'm gonna get this one, but the first one that I thought of is I believe it's Matthew 24:12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You see, iniquity is sin, wickedness, evil, right? You know, it's growing. It's getting worse and worse because this kingdom is decaying. It's falling apart. It's eroding, right? It's getting weaker and weaker, right? As the days go on, right? YASHAMIAHLA is destroying this place from the inside out, you know, in every way possible, right? And this food, man, you know, everybody's starting to know about how bad the food is, what's really in it. You know, a lot of the food is plastic, you know, it's literal plastic or 3D printed, right? And if it is real, it got some type of chemical sprayed on it, you know, like pesticides and stuff, you know, and other chemicals, right? You know, so, you know, the more and more people are finding out how bad stuff really is, the more and more people are going to start crashing out, right? Or this could just be somebody that's just, hey, they disgruntled and they want to take it out on anybody. You know, that's an evil thing to do, man. You know, and that's why we got to pray for mercy, man. You know, because you got people that's walking around in this society that's on the edge every day. You never know who you walking across, man, or who you even talking to when you come across them. You know, let me get this in Sirach 39 and 28. It says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of the destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. You see, so the Lord has spirits created for vengeance to take people out, right? When people, you know, murder people or do something, people would, hey, that's the spirit of vengeance that the Lord got on that person to do that, to cause judgment and to actually appease the Lord, to please the Lord, right? Yeah, I said please. Please, appease, you know, it's all going to the same thing, meaning the same thing, right? So these things are happening every day, man. And also, the spirit just hit me, right? Somebody I work with, right? They were telling me about how they bought some type of dip for some chips, and he told me when he bought it, he said it was like halfway gone, like somebody was eating it before he even got it. So that's why we gotta get the hell up out of here, man. You know, I forgot all about that until I seen it. I didn't think about it immediately when I seen that article, but this is the times that we're in, man. Don't nobody give a damn about nobody. Which, yeah, we don't care about the nations regardless. We know that only Israelites is going to be saved, the elect of the Israelites, because most of our people will be destroyed. But, hey, it's too many evil things happening, man. You know, the Lord got to deliver us soon. You know, he said he will, and he meant that. But he is bound to his word, bound by his prophecies, man, because, you know, there's too much things going on. We got to pray over our food, and I got to pray over my stuff more and more, you know. Sometimes I'll be forgetting to do that, but, you know, we got to remember to do that. We got to check the ingredients on things, right? You know, we got to look at stuff, you know, dive into it and research it, what it really means, you know, eat healthier, you know. We got to do these things, especially if you follow YASHAMIAHLA, man. We have a dietary law, right? You know, But like I said, a lot of people are walking around with the spirit of, like I said, I don't give a damn, man. You know, and these are times that we're living in, man. But you still got niggas talking about some, I want to make it in America. I'm chasing the bag. I'm trying to get a career. I'm trying to be successful. Nigga, this can happen to you. You know? And then, yeah, this is one incident, but shit, all the food's fake. And not just inside the grocery stores. And we go to restaurants too, fast food places, right? Even your mom and pop shops. You know, Esau has contaminated the whole world. But this is probably, like I said, somebody that went around. You know, when you go to a grocery store, people be touching stuff. Kids be touching stuff. You know, you can't trust nobody, man. The only people you can trust is, you know, the men of the Lord, man. Right? Those are the only people you can really trust. You know? Because they're leading you to the path of life, to YASHAMIAHLA, man. Right? You know, and if you don't have the Lord, man, then you're susceptible to any and everything, man. And that's what we don't want. You know, because this reminds me of a show I used to watch when I was younger. Brothers may know what it is. It's called 1,000 Ways to Die, man. Somebody could buy this, and then they get home and they make a sandwich with that same piece of bread that has a blade in it. They could choke on it and die and bleed to death because it cut their throat. And then they didn't even know until they started eating it. Once it's in your throat, you can't get that out. It's sharp. You know? And that's why you gotta, you know, what does it say? I forgot where it's at. Is it Proverbs 27? Also, as well, you know, when you come across people, when you interact with people, not that you're scared or nothing, but where is it at? Let me see. I know where it is. It's in Proverbs. Let me see. Yep, Proverbs 15:1, right? Well, Jake, when you talking to people, hey, you know, like I said, it's not that you being scary or you being fearful of them. We only fear the Lord. That's what we're supposed to fear, right? You might get nervous in situations, but you gotta understand, you know, the will of the Lord is going to be done regardless, right? But this is Proverbs 15:1. It says, "A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stirred up anger." So, you know, when you're talking to people, man, you never know how somebody's gonna respond to something. A lot of times, you know, I also you know, kind of experienced this last week with somebody. You know, most people when I talk to them, they think that they can't tell if I'm serious or, you know, joking when I be saying stuff because I say it like so, like nonchalant. But that's just how I am. You know, I don't sugarcoat stuff. But I also I feel like, you know, when I'm talking to somebody, I'm saying it in a nice way. You know, but I apologize to that person or whatever. But I end up finding out, well, I think this person is an Edomite. It was at the plantation or whatever. They tried to get all, you know, mad or something that I said, but it wasn't. I didn't say nothing disrespectful to him or nothing, but, and I wasn't talking about the truth or anything like that. They just said something to me smart, like, and I just kind of said it back. And then he tried to get up all close to me. Was like, "Well, why'd you say it to me like that, man?" I was like, "Hey, man, you know how these Edomites get. These other people get out here, man. They're emotional, man. So if you can keep the peace, man, the scriptures say, hey, if possible, live peaceful with all men." And that's what we try to do. But I ultimately heard about this dude yesterday that ended up, you know, getting a little mad or whatever. I already injured himself or something. I don't know how bad it was, but hey, that's the judgment of YASHAMIAHLA. He might be good now, but I just heard about this yesterday. But that was last week when it happened. But get a little bit off topic, but I was kind of going into the scripture, man. You know, be wise in your speech, right? Don't try to overdo things. We're not trying to save ourselves in a way, or we let everything be done in the will of the Lord, right? Even when it comes to dangerous situations, right? You don't try to take the situation in your own hands, man. You got to let the Lord lead, right? You got to let the Spirit, you know, guide you, right? YAHWH is going to guide you in the path that you should take, when it comes to situations and even your decision making. right? But let me get this other scripture. Let me go back to Ezekiel, because I mentioned the food is defiled. And it is, man. We ain't gonna be here for another 5 years. I don't believe that, and I'm pretty sure brothers don't believe that either. It's too much going on, too much evil, too much chemicals and poison, being at our disposal every day, because we gotta go through our enemy for one of all things. This is Ezekiel 4:13. It says, "And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat the defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them." So our food is tainted, man. There's nothing we can do about that. The only reason we're alive is because of this scripture, right? Let's go to Malachi 3 in verse 6. It says, "For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed." You see, the Lord always promised that he was going to have a remnant of his seed here. No matter how many Israelites died, the Lord created a numerable number of Israelites. Right? No matter how bad it's going to get, he has a chosen that's going to make it. Right? But the only reason why any Jacob is alive, period, is because the Lord's allowing you to still be alive. Because, all the food that we've been consuming here in America, and mainly in America, because you have a lot of chemicals and poisons that's banned in all these other countries. But even in those countries, everything ain't perfect. It was the will of the Lord that you alive and you still here. Your heart's still beating. Because really, if you study and look at how much stuff is really in our food, man, we should be dead. Just from eating the food. I ain't even talking about nothing else. But this just may be a spirit of vengeance that the Lord put on somebody to do that, and ultimately almost kill somebody. Because who would do such a thing? That dude had a demonic, whoever it was, dude, woman, didn't say who it was, but they had a demonic spirit on them, man, to do that. This also reminds me of Hallows Eve, Halloween. That satanic day that people were just celebrating going on 2 months ago, right? I remember growing up, before I was in the truth, celebrating it. I would go out and get candy and all that. And I always had a mom that would tell us to check the candy, and she would check it for stuff like that. You got people out here with that spirit in them, that murderous, vengeance spirit, man. So you can't trust that. You can't trust no one, man. And even your family members, man, the ones that's not in the truth, you can't trust them like that. They gonna be the first ones to turn this in, but that's not the topic for another day. But the point is, man, you gotta be aware of what times we're in, man. Anybody can get it, man, and we not exempt either. If we're not a party elect, then we're gonna be caught up in a lot of these things, man. That's happened. Let me get what is that? 1 Timothy. I think it's 2 Timothy 3, right? It says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come," right? Meaning dangerous times, and that's what times we're in now. "For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy," right? All these are traits of people who are ungodly, without natural affection, right? You putting a damn razor blade in some food and a random person gonna get it. That you don't have natural affection at all. I would say it was probably an Edomite that did some shit like that, more than likely, or another nation. The Jake do shit, but most times it's not Jake that do shit like that. Truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. You see? And that's all these people really, outside of the truth. They fit these traits, man. They fit these traits, but that's why you gotta know what time we in, Jay. You gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention to everything you're doing. You gotta pray and give reverence to YASHAMIAHLA before you go out the house, when you make it home, while you out doing what you're doing. Hey, say it in your head if you walking. I do that. Pay attention. Be circumspect, man. Because these are times that we in. You gotta expect the unexpected, right? The Lord said we're in the times of the beginning of sorrows. Jacob's trouble is pretty much starting. So I just want to do this quick video, man. You know, this ain't gonna be. I'm pretty sure this ain't the first time something like this has happened somewhere, but you know, them somebody putting a razor blade in it is equivalent to Esau putting stuff in the food that can kill you too. It just may not be visible and it may not be instant, but that's the instant. If you put that in your mouth, that's gonna cut your throat all up, make you bleed, and you're gonna choke on it, and that's a terrible death, man. You know, but you know, yeah, Jake. Hey, pay attention to where you at, what you doing. Check your stuff. You know, check your clothes, everything. If you buy some clothes, you know, check everything, man. We need the Lord, you know. But that's it, man. I'm gonna close out. Hey, pray for more faith, Jake. I'm talking about myself first and foremost. Pray for more wisdom and knowledge. We almost up out of here, man. So with that, I'm gonna close out. I'll give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Till next time, I want to say, bye, 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 shalom.